So today I'm joined by Richard, who is someone I've known for a number of years. I'll say over nearly 10 years now,
Yeah,
I think, isn't it?
that's right, yeah.
And here's someone that I met on a course which was for speaking to women,
Yeah,
improving the ability to approach women and speak to them and to develop connections with them. And since that time, we've met up on a number of occasions when he's been in the UK, because he likes to get around and to travel the globe. And so Richard, introduce yourself and tell us more about communication and approaching women.
Oh, okay, sure. So, hi there. Thanks for tuning in and listening to this podcast. I'm going to share with you some of my experiences that have enabled me to feel good, confident, content, relaxed, and easygoing when I'm out and about, specifically when I'm looking to meet an attractive woman, to get to know her, these kind of things. So specifically, what I teach my students is that it's always good to have an opener to fall back on. An opener is basically the equivalent of "Hi, how are you?" but it's just a fancy version of that. So an opener that I teach my students goes like this, and you might like to try and write it down. I call it the door opener, and I'll give you the long version, and it goes like this. Oh, hi there. Excuse me for interrupting you like this. I just wanted to get a quick opinion from you about men in this country. Like, should they still hold doors open for women on dates? Or do you think it's a bit, I don't know, old-fashioned and uncool? I'll explain why I'm asking in a second. Okay, so that's the long-winded version, right? You don't need to get that all up, but that is the structure, right? So
Yeah, I remember you mentioned this one before, and I
Yeah.
think it's very effective because it's kind of a bit controversial. It can be, but it's very good for, as you say, breaking the ice and
Yep.
to get the ball rolling.
absolutely, 100%.
Please continue.
Thanks. So basically, what this opener is going to do is it's going to capture the attention of this person that you've gone up to meet. All right. So maybe they were in their head, they were worrying about bills, what they're doing for the weekend. People have got so many thoughts going on. But this opener is very interesting, and I challenge you actually to try it, and try it on anyone. Try it on a friend. To say, hey mate, can I ask you a quick question? Do you think in this country, in this day and age, a guy should still hold the door open for a woman on a date? Or do you think it's kind of old-fashioned and uncool? I'll let you know why I'm asking in a second. They will grab that bit of information and they will begin to consume it, to think about it, to talk about it, which is exactly what you need. So now you've opened an interaction, and you'll need what is known as a transition. Okay, so that's your opening. You need something to bridge the gap from talking about this thing to getting to know them a bit more. And you don't want it to come across as though the opener was formulated and preconceived. All right, you just
Yeah.
want it.
Yeah.
You want it to come across as natural and easygoing. So your transition could be like, okay, thanks for your opinion. Well, I notice you guys have got some accents. Let me guess. Are you from Germany? And she might go, oh yes, I am, or no, I'm not. Whatever. You go, okay, that's interesting. I really enjoyed going. Okay, so this is the transition now. You're relating it to something that's familiar to her life and her story, but something that's not too far of a stretch. Okay, so you want it to like be a little step from the opener, a little gradual transition to no longer talking about the opener, or kind of talking about the opener and relating it to where she's from. And then after that transition, you'll go into the third bit, which will be something more personal about her and what she loves doing and how that's related to you. You see, all human beings feel a lot more comfortable when they feel like they have something in common with someone. So this is what you need to learn to develop in all people you talk about. There is some link between all of us. whether it's a city, a country, a sport, a hobby, a mutual acquaintance. It could be anything. Just try to find these commonalities and bring them up. And then you talk about that for a bit, and then you would go into what I call the number closing routine. You want to find out what her relationship status is like, where she lives, what her schedule is like for the coming hours, days, weeks, months, and what her hobbies, interests, and favorite things are. These 4 things you need to find out, because then you'll know whether it's worth pursuing. I mean, if you find out that she's got a boyfriend, then you know, okay, it was nice to meet her. Then you say goodbye. Or if she's single, then you know, okay, that's a green light. If you find out that she doesn't live too far away from you, another green light. If you find out that she's not particularly busy in the evenings or on the weekend, that's another green light. And if she says that she likes something like salsa or walking in the park or something like that, that's another green light. Okay, so now you've got this information, and you're going to tailor an invitation to her to meet up with you again. So you'll say, okay, so it's nice to meet you, Cinderella, and great that you've got all of these really interesting hobbies and stuff, but I'll be honest with you, like this coming weekend, there's going to be a show actually of whatever her interest is. It could be knitting, it could be whatever. Let's say it was knitting. So there's this exhibition in London, this knitting exhibition. People are coming from all over the world, or it could be poetry, it could be anything, and you just want to relate it to a true story about some event in the future, and you say, look, I would love to go out there with you, and maybe we could see it together. And so what's the best way for us to stay in touch? Maybe I'll send you a message or something. Okay, so you haven't said, can I have your number? You're putting the ball back into her court by saying, what is the best way for us to stay in touch? That gives her an option of saying email, Instagram, Facebook, or take my phone number. Okay, you've given her the choice. You're not pushing her into a corner so that she feels like, oh, he wants my number kind of thing. You're relaxed, and depending on how well she trusts you and how well she feels around you, she'll give you whatever contact information that she thinks is relevant, and maybe she's attracted to you by that stage. She may start to play hard to get. Anything could happen, really. But that's the basic model that I teach of how to go from a single guy without a woman to being a guy who now has the ability and capability to get in touch and to meet any attractive woman he comes across, wherever she might be, in a library, in a cafe, on the high street. There's no limits. But what you really want is to develop this skill set to be able to walk up to a woman and get her smiling, laughing, and thinking you're great, you're a breath of fresh air. That is the objective. Even if she has a boyfriend or something, at least you had a positive, fun interaction, and you've learned something. You've developed that. You've further increased your ability to chat with people. And as you do this over and over again, you overcome your fear of approaching. You will find that this will rub off in business. Your boss might find, wow, this guy is amazing. He just knows how to build rapport instantly with our clients and with our prospects and such. So I highly recommend getting out there. And if you do have fear of approaching, which is absolutely normal, very common, start with small steps. To start by extending your conversations with the people who serve you coffee at Starbucks, or the people who mow your lawn, or whoever, whatever it is, wherever you have an opportunity to talk, practice talking to strangers. Eventually you'll get really good at it, and it will start to be like a snowball down a hill where it will gather momentum. Eventually you'll find that you actually enjoy it, and you'll find yourself, like on the weekend and when you have free time, you'll find yourself going, hey, I want to go out and meet people. And that's what you'll do. It'll become a hobby. And maybe you'll have a friend or two. I never really went out with anyone else. I just went out on my own because, as Ollie said, I traveled a lot. So I was often in a new city or a new town. And that might also help you, is to take a ride to the next town over, because maybe you'll be worried about what people think and such. But if you do it in another town, if you do it in a place like London, it doesn't really matter. You're probably not going to see the people again. So it gives you a bit of leeway to maybe embarrass yourself or whatever, or while you're overcoming. So yeah, don't stress.
Yeah, very good point. This is definitely something I've noticed as well. If you're in your own town or city, as you're saying, you can be a bit self-conscious if there's not many people around. But if you go to somewhere where it's so busy, there's so many people, then
Yeah.
who cares? As you said, you're probably not going to see them again.
Yeah.
And something I noticed when I first met you in 2008,
Yeah.
Richard, is that how natural and how normal you made it look. You didn't come across as some dodgy guy who was trying to get something. It was just
Yeah.
all about starting conversations,
Yeah.
and just the whole thing was very natural.
Yeah.
So, and I think the key thing as well, as you said, is that in the beginning it can lead to a lot of anxiety and there can be all these negative associations, but afterwards, once you start to see the results, then it's like, I actually want to do this. There's more of us is on board with actually doing it.
Yeah.
And it's like any people are learning a martial art or something
Yeah.
like that in the beginning. This is
Yeah.
the basics, this is boring. But once you pick up
Uh-huh.
a few moves, then you can get in there and do a bit of sparring,
Yeah.
for example, then it's like, wow, I'm actually seeing some benefit
Yeah.
through what I'm doing. So
Yeah, and it can be really disheartening being a single guy and seeing these lovely ladies and just not being able to do anything, just not having the skill set to just go up and say, hi, how are you? I noticed you from over there. I think you look gorgeous, and I just had to come over here. I'm so and so. Good to meet you, by the way. And it's as simple as that. It can be really natural, and just having that ability will change a man's life, because it can suck not being able to talk to a girl and being alone and being single. It's terrible. I was there once. So yeah, my aim and my mission is to share this skill with as many guys as possible. I think we can make the world a better place. And also this is helping women, because women want to be approached by attractive, fun, interesting guys who know how to chat and who have the balls to approach. Honestly, the number of women I've approached who did have boyfriends, they said to me, look, well done for approaching. There's a lot to be said about that. So they were like so impressed, and they didn't want to discourage me from approaching. So they were like, look, I'm like married or got a boyfriend or whatever, but like, great approach. It was lovely meeting you, and yeah, you're a nice guy. Just keep on approaching. You're going to
Yeah.
find someone. You're going to meet
Yeah.
someone. So I just want to inspire and encourage anyone who's listening to this right now, who might be on their own and who might be lonely or whatever. I really would love to encourage you just to get out there and force yourself by any means necessary.
Yeah.
Just to open your mouth and let those words come out. And yes, you're going to say awkward things. Yes, you're going to be embarrassed. You're going to try something and it's just not going to work out. It's normal. It happened to me. Happens to all my students, and it's part of the learning equation. It's like when I'm with my students, I say to them, look guys, this is where you learn to drive the car. This is where you crash into the wall. This is where, don't worry, it's okay. You're learning a new skill set. One day you'll look back on this and you'll laugh, all right? It's okay. So, that's,
yeah, I think you've explained a lot of the basics here, and the kind of challenges that someone would have to surmount
yep.
during the beginning of their journey of doing this. And as I look back on when I first met you and I was kind of going through the basics, and I can just see the effect that you had through just being around you and you showing me some
Yeah.
approaches and stuff, just the effect it had on my ability to socialize, not even just speak to women, but to socialize in general
Yeah.
and to meet people in different environments. So I can definitely vouch for
Yeah.
your ability.
Yeah.
You're not just someone who's talking the talk here, you walk
Yeah.
the walk as well.
Yeah. Thanks.
And I would definitely recommend your
My
skill
method.
set,
Yeah.
your method, your services to anyone
Awesome.
who was looking
Yeah.
to develop their social skills and their ability to meet women in any environment.
Yeah.
So
Wicked.
thank you, Richard, for
Yeah,
taking the
thank you.
time to go over this here, and
100%.
I'm sure people
Yeah.
get a lot out of this
Yeah. And
podcast today.
Yeah, and I want to thank you, Ollie, and I want to thank the listener for giving us his attention and his time. So thank you, and I hope some of this may have resonated with you. I just want you to know right now that no matter what you're feeling or what you think are your problems, just understand that there is hope, that there is a solution, and that the things that you believe about yourself that are negative are probably not true. Don't worry, I used to believe I was not good looking enough, I was too skinny, my teeth were this, it's all nonsense. All of those are just thoughts. They're not reality, they're thoughts that you have in your mind. So don't worry. You just gotta get out there and just work on it and work on yourself as well. Because I mean, to be honest, if you do get a nice haircut and you put on a nice shirt and whatnot, and you practice having better body language, all of these things add up. They all add up. And what you want to do is stack the odds in your favor. So go to gym. Don't have to become obsessed, but just, yeah, and do some interesting things. Join some interesting groups. Learn some form of dancing. Just try and invest your time in interesting activities, because that is also another avenue to meeting women, is in a class. It's a great place, great environment to meet nice kind of women.
Yeah, wonderfully said. I mean, as they say, you can't we can't decide, or we had no control over the cards that we were dealt.
Yeah.
But we can control how we use the cards we've been dealt.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think, as you're saying, stacking the
Odds.
odds in your favour, and there's always little things we can do, and these are little things, although they might seem fairly insignificant to begin with,
Yep.
they can build up and we can be our best self, which is what it's about.
Absolutely. And yeah, just another point on the approaching. To be honest, it's actually a numbers game. Just the more approaches you do, it's like sales. The more approaches you do, the more calls you do, the more hits you're going to do, the more successes you're going to get. So trying to do, and you can do the sniper approach, which will come later when you've developed the ability. Then you can walk around and let girls go until you see the one and you're like, oh wow, she is gorgeous, and then you can just go straight up to her and create this awesome interaction, get her laughing, and she's thinking, wow, this guy is interesting and nice, and yeah, then you go from there.
Perfect. On that note, thank you
Yeah.
again, Richard, and
Yeah,
we'll
it's been fun. It's been
perhaps
interesting.
we'll do another one soon. Brilliant.
will.
Thank
We
you,
will,
Richard. Thank you
absolutely.
for your time.
All right, no worries. Cheers. Bye.